Welcome to the show that looks at truth, fiction, and reality with a smirk. I'm Aaron Peterson.
I'm Amanda Sink.
And I'm Zach Parkerson.
And welcome to Smirk. Each week, one of our hosts introduces an original story, and then we use that as a springboard for a spirited discussion on whatever the moral or theme of that story was. Are you guys ready for a new one?
Ready, Freddy.
Woo!
What was that?
That was a mild attempt at
wooing?
Enthusiasm?
It felt like you just got some kind of disease. And
yes,
you just got the results. You just got the results back. And you're like, woo! That's what it came across.
4 months instead of 3. Woo!
Oh, all right. Well, this week it's my turn to tell a story. I haven't done one in a little while, so I'm pretty excited about this.
Yeah, you're a big fan of hearing yourself talk.
I know, right? It's so weird. It's hard to do when I'm actually talking, though. So I might stop the podcast mid-story, go back, hear it, just to get myself pumped up again.
We're going to walk away. You let us know when you're done with yourself.
You take some time, brother.
What's up, me? How you doing? That sounds good. I like that. Too much? All right. People are already.
They gave you that award by accident, didn't they?
What's that?
They gave you that podcasting award by accident, didn't they?
The wrong envelope. Yeah, it was supposed to be La La Land. Yeah. Whoops. All right. Well, here it is. It's my turn. So now it's time for my story. Today is Easter, and it's been 2 years exactly since Steve lost his dad. No one knows where Dad went, only that he left their home on this very special holiday, dressed in a full-length bunny costume, supposedly to hide Steve's eggs for the annual hunt. Having squandered most of the family's savings on a get-rich-quick scheme that crashed and burned, authorities speculated numerous theories on what exactly happened to Dad, the most plausible being that he skipped town to avoid his debts. All Steve knew was that he felt confident he would never see his father again. Regardless of his sadness, Steve's mom refused to let him wallow in self-pity. "Dad will not ruin our holiday," she yelled as she forced Steve to dress for the annual family Easter egg hunt. It's been a tradition for years in their family, and Mom was not killing tradition simply because they were abandoned. Once the cousins arrived, the festivities were to begin. On their 4-acre lot, the 10 of them, ranging from the ages of 10 to 16, would be scouring the area for hidden eggs. The one who collected the most eggs wins the contest. They would be celebrated at Easter brunch, and therefore they get to pick the family movie they would watch later that afternoon. Now, Steve refused to play the year prior, still upset over losing his father. But he saw how much it crushed his mother. So this year, he was going to play, and he was going to play to win. As soon as Grandma gave the word, the kids were on the hunt. Winding in and out of the tree line, looking under rocks and bushes, moving fallen limbs, they took this hunt seriously. Steve knew the younger kids wouldn't venture too far into the wooded area. So he skipped the field, and he headed straight to the woods. In his mind, he could collect every egg there before the young ones even finished looking under every blade of field grass. As he crossed into the woods, shadows loomed and darkness clouded the area, making it increasingly difficult to identify pastel-colored plastic eggs in the brush. One by one, Steve began finding eggs scattered throughout the area. After 30 minutes of collecting, he began to head back when he noticed something. A bit deeper in the woods, maybe 100 yards from where he was, a white oval shape laid in wait. Obviously an egg that he missed and his family forgot to color. Steve flew through the trees to grab it. He started hearing the other kids grow closer just as he reached the egg, so he grabbed the egg firm and yanked it up to throw it into his basket. Only this wasn't an egg. It was the tip of a white cloth, an ear. And when Steve pulled on it so hard, he had yanked what was attached partially out of the ground. A mask of sorts lay halfway buried in the dirt. It was only half visible, but Steve knew exactly what he was looking at. The top half of a bunny costume. And the face within that bunny mask was that of his father. Steve stood locked in place for what seemed like hours, as his mind raced through all of the details of the past 2 years. The revelation of Dad's almost costing their family everything, the circumstances of his disappearance, the tragic emptiness his mother wore for several months. "Okay, time's up. Come in and count your eggs," Steve's mom yelled from back at the house. Steve snapped out of his trance and headed back. He dumped all of his collected eggs onto the ground. As he walked into the house, he glanced up at his mom sternly, and then lifted his arm and pointed his finger to the woods he just came from. Steve uttered not a single word, and Mom's mouth dropped, almost hitting the floor in terror. The rules for this game had just changed, and now Steve was playing for keeps.
Well. Wow.
How's it going, guys? You like that?
So he's dead.
Dad's definitely dead. Yes.
Okay.
No, he's just been laying there for 2 years. He's been hanging
You
out.
saw his face. Shouldn't he be decomposed after 2 years?
Well, yeah, but it's still, he knows what his dad looks like.
He knows what his skull looks like.
The mask was probably
they never
formaldehyde.
checked the backyard.
Use your imagination, Zachary.
No, did you listen to the story? Only just a portion of the ear was up through the sticking up, and he grabbed it and yanked it up, and that pulled the head up. See what I'm saying?
I gotcha.
Jeez, have you never seen Law and Order?
Did the head dislocate from the rest of the
No,
body?
it's still connected.
So you build up the whole body?
How
He
graphic.
just moved the head.
Well, it's just bones at this point.
That's true. It probably did just easily separate with deterioration over years.
I don't know why internet detectives are involved right now.
Keep them all together.
What the hell's going
Because
on?
we have watched a lot of, serial killer things.
Why is it a serial killer? One person? That's not a serial killer.
There
Not
could be
yet.
others.
Could
That's
be.
just a killer.
Yep. All right, the story's laid out. So what do you guys think the moral or the theme of that story is?
Well, definitely don't wear a bunny costume unless you want to end up on a true crime podcast.
Okay. Zach.
That's hard to follow up. Don't
You
watch
can do
Donnie Darko.
That's all I was thinking too.
That's simple.
Something about the truth.
What?
That's what I guess. The truth.
What's the moral? The moral is the truth. Just the truth. I think if you sit with it, you'll understand later.
Truth is important. Truth will set you free.
Yeah, it could be.
I thought it was going one way and then it kind of ended up going a different way.
Which way did you think it was going?
Well, I thought it was going to be something about like how family can kind of like help get through a grieving time.
Well, it kind of is, Amanda.
But not when you find the body. That kind of like continues the grievance.
Just means Mom worked this out. She's going to grieve in her own way.
So what is the moral?
The moral is, very simply, no good can come from a grown man wearing a bunny costume.
Love it.
I'm telling you. You'll end up on a true crime podcast.
You sure will.
Or Smirk.
On either way. Maybe you might be the killer, you might be the killee. I don't know. One of those two.
Killy, the technical term.
I like it. All right. So the purpose of that story was because I wanted to talk about Easter. I wanted to talk about...
Yeah, that's a smart way to get to that topic.
Dead people. Dead people do sort of have to do with Easter. So there you go.
People die every day.
There you go. How do you guys feel about Easter? In terms of you have this religious holiday that is somehow more about pretend bunnies and candy baskets than any resurrection or anything else. How do you guys feel about the actual holiday of Easter?
I'll be honest. As an adult woman.
No, lie. That's what we want to do in this podcast. Please lie.
Trick everyone listening.
As an adult woman, until my mother moved away, I still got Easter baskets, and I loved that candy. I always got a giant chocolate bunny. So I don't know. I guess to me, Easter, I'm not religious in terms of Christian, so it doesn't mean that much to me, but I enjoy spending time with my family and doing something. I've always enjoyed the Easter egg hunts when I was younger, and clearly getting really cool baskets from my mom that had food. Maybe that's where I gained my freshman 15 was Easter. Who knows? I don't know. Easter's all right. I guess it's fine. I don't really see it as much of a religious... I mean, I know it is a religious holiday.
I'm actually speaking specifically about the bunny candy portion, not the religious portion. The bunny candy portion. What do you feel about this somehow being a thing that no one really gets why it's a thing? They just do it.
It's weird as hell, but I still like it. I mean, it gave us Donnie Darko. Would we have that without Easter?
Yes.
Who knows?
Did you watch Donnie Darko? I don't think it was really about Easter.
No, but I meant the bunny.
Well, there's bunnies all over the place. It's not just Easter that owns that. What about you, Zach? How do you feel about Easter and bunnies and candy and Peeps?
Oh, Peeps.
I couldn't tell you what day of the year Easter is. Is it in April?
Yeah, this year it's April 1st.
It changes.
I think
it changes. See, I don't care about Easter. I remember as a kid, I really liked trolling the basket, and then the centripetal force would keep all the candy inside of it. I thought that was really neat. That's really my only significant memory of Easter.
I like watching kids do their little Easter egg hunts. They get so excited. And making the Easter eggs.
I like hiding the Easter eggs from kids.
See, there's one aspect.
Doing something terrible.
Well, the hunts are he kind of made it dark. Really, I didn't even think about it.
I did not make it dark. I hide the eggs. That's what you're supposed to do.
Well, you said from children, like they've already got them, and then you take them back, and then you go hide them. That's what I say. Round 2, suckers. I used to love Easter egg hunts until one kid got kidnapped. Like a couple years, it was tragic, and I'm like, I don't like Easter egg hunts anymore. That's
he
bad.
Got kidnapped Easter egg hunting?
Yeah, there was a kid. I don't remember what town it was, and it could have been just something that people say to scare you because I didn't know any better. But we heard some kid got kidnapped Easter egg hunting, and we all didn't want to do it anymore because there used to be a lot of like churches and stuff and parks would have Easter egg hunts every Easter, and then one kid got kidnapped, and everybody's like, "No, we're good." Well,
that's really devastating. I like watching
it for everyone.
I know. Yeah. Well, my grandma started making me baskets after that, so I was cool with it.
Did the kid get kidnapped with his candy? Did he at least get to hold on to the basket?
I was young, so I didn't care about the details then. All I cared about was don't steal me. That's what I cared about at that age. I'm sure he's perfectly fine, and it was all just a myth or something.
Or maybe there was a van. And he thought
Don't
there was
buy the
candy. He thought there was candy inside the van or Easter eggs that he was trying to hunt for. So he went in the van. And
somebody just stacked him into the van?
Yeah.
That's a horrible scenario.
Who knows?
Yeah, I wish somebody would have kidnapped me as a kid.
What is wrong with you?
Got some candy out of it? You're like, whoa, do I get chocolate eggs out of this deal? But I'm in the van.
You have a bicycle for me, but it's in your basement? Let's go, sucker.
Zach just wandered the streets looking for free stuff. I'm willing to go with you if you got stuff at your house.
Look, man.
Well, I never really understood it. The chocolate bunny, the Peeps. I don't even know what kind of food that is. I mean,
Peeps is just marshmallows.
It's great for 2 bites, and then it starts to get creepy and weird and squishy.
You can't eat a whole ton of them because they're so sugary, but they're just marshmallows covered in sugar, and it's a delightful time. And I'm telling you, each flavor has a different, I don't really like the yellow ones, but the blue, the purple, and the pink ones are the bomb.
They arrange the pig gelatin in different ways.
They don't taste any different. They taste exactly the same.
No, they don't. No.
I think marshmallows are gross.
Well, they think you're gross, too. You don't like s'mores?
So weird. Why do marshmallows have feelings? I don't understand.
Because we're all Veronica's marshmallows. Come on, guys.
Oh my God, that was awful. All right, so the Easter Bunny reportedly was introduced to America by German immigrants who brought over their stories of egg-laying hare. That's hare being a rabbit. The decoration of eggs is believed to date back to at least the 13th century, while the rite of the Easter parade has even older roots. Other traditions, such as the consumption of Easter candy, are among the modern additions to the Easter celebration. So do you think this is a tradition that should even still be going on? Take away the religious aspect. I just mean the eggs and the baskets and all that stuff. Should we still be doing that? Is it weird to anyone else? Or is it just me?
Sure, there are religious connotations, but I don't really think that's what the holiday is about anymore. It's mostly just about buying a bunch of candy. It makes kids happy, sure, whatever. Seems like a way for greeting cards to make money.
Greeting cards? Who gives a card for Easter?
What do you say on your Hallmark Easter card?
Welcome back.
That would be clever.
It's got a cotter on it, but also a cross.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like a holiday that exists for marketing purposes now.
You seal it with a nail.
Yeah.
That's probably too far.
Probably.
That I like. That's funny.
That's how you get mail, Amanda. Good job. That's Amanda at smirkpodcast.com.
Yeah.
That's Aaron.
Everyone
Sorry,
deserves.
that's Aaron.
I'll take them.
Zach wants them.
I'll field those. I'll take care of those for you. I mean, is there anything that actually happens from that holiday? The only thing that I know is that parents still make Easter baskets. They get the kids the candy. They might take them to an Easter egg hunt or something with friends. It's one of those things where I feel like they sell a fortune in candy and everything else. It is very much a commercialized holiday. But I don't know anybody that actually, quote unquote, celebrates Easter outside of Easter lunch, which is more of a religious thing.
My mom used to do the Easter lunches, more like Easter, kind of like Easter dinner, more than anything. And we would all get like baskets.
Dinner? Like we woke up too late for brunch?
Lunch, dinner, because it would be like around 4 o'clock or something, 3 or 4. And the food was so good. And we always got cheesy potatoes.
It's much the way you talk about food. I think maybe this is where you got your freshman 15.
This probably is. My mom in general. But cheesy potatoes, there was ham. The food is deviled eggs. The food is just so good. And that's really, like, I feel like that's all it really is you get to, people who are religious are obviously they're going to go to church and they're going to do what they want to do with it. But in terms of the majority of what the day is celebrating and doing, people are it's more just a fun thing for kids to do. It's an event where a bunch of kids can meet other kids and hang out and do something fun. And it's typically organized by churches, but you don't have to really be religious to even participate in them.
I see a lot of stuff that's not church related. I mean, just parks have things still. I think some parks still do.
Well, and churches will host those and they'll still welcome whomever wants to come, whether you're like a lot of non-denominational churches will do something like that. But I think for me, it's as I'm getting older, it's more exciting for me to watch my nephews and my niece do those things as they get older and kind of watch them live their childhood. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with making kids smile, even if you have to spend some money on it.
Don't they get enough money spent on? I mean, you got a Nintendo and you got a TV and you got a whatever else. I mean, they're doing all right. They don't need a chocolate bunny to make the world seem better.
And I don't even think it's necessarily the baskets, but just the Easter egg hunts. I mean, you don't have to, you can put like 3 jelly beans in one of those Easter things, the Easter eggs, the plastic ones.
Now you cheap ass. It's a lot of work for 3 jelly beans.
But I mean, if they find it and they have candy inside, some of them will put money inside, whatever. But whatever you do with them, kids have fun just doing that activity, just hunting them down.
Are kids out there getting paid for this?
Dude, yeah, seriously. They put money in them. Churches will put money in them.
Why do kids?
Some rich families, man.
Right. It should be
this
lucky.
is a pretty poor area.
I think what they just when we were kids, we just got the plastic egg. And there's nothing in it. It's like, hey, what'd you get? Plastic egg. Why is it open? There's nothing ever in it. So
it's pretty cool. You can tear it in 2, and then you have 2 little water cups.
Exactly.
There you go.
I don't have any memories as they relate to Easter. I don't think. I'm sure my family is weeping as they listen to this. But I really can't.
All those Easter celebrations we planned just for Zach.
I really don't remember. I remember painting some eggs, I guess, and then I can remember hiding eggs from my cousins when I was older, and that was fun to see who the smartest kid was. But that was about it.
You test their eye-hand coordination and
and then
problem-solving skills.
When there's ones that not found, I'm like, well, I'm smarter than all of you, aren't I? I just rub it in.
That's funny.
The last part's not true. I made that up.
No, that sounds accurate. From what we know, that feels accurate.
Funny.
I don't know. I like hiding them, but I don't know. I didn't grow up in an especially religious household. So
funny story. When I lived with my ex, I created a little Easter egg hunt. I don't know why. I'm such a child as an adult. Anyway, I had put one in a tree. And there was like a wasp nest or a beehive in there or something.
This is cruel.
I didn't know. There was like this nice little divot where it was like a triangle shape and you could easily just put the Easter egg in there. And I was like, this is perfect. Or you could put a nest
in there as well.
And so I put it in there. Well, lo and behold, there was bees or wasps or something.
That's like some Saw stuff, man.
I did not mean to do that.
You're like, would you like to play a game?
I just started with a jigsaw puzzle.
I would. You just right in there in your little clown costume. Hey, get ready.
On my tricycle.
All right. One other question. And then I actually have a story question after that. But one more question on this topic. Do you feel like continuing this like this is good for children? And Zach, I'll go to you first because I know you love the concept of lying to children. So is it just lying to them for no good reason? Or is there something good in this?
I'm a strong believer in giving too much truth to children. I think, the Santa Claus thing, that's cruel.
Why is it cruel?
Lying to kids and teaching about this hopeful creature out in the world when little to their knowledge, there's no hope out there.
Oh my gosh, you're so cynical. I don't think I've ever met anybody as cynical as you. Ever.
Yeah,
that's probably a compliment to you. You probably take it as a compliment.
I'm not trying to be cynical. No, I do think Santa Claus. I think it's messed up. I think it's weird. But if you want kids to hunt things, I guess that's fun, but you don't need to teach them that there's a magical creature out there. It's weird.
Why are they teaching them to hunt that magical creature? Because that just sounds mean again. Why don't we just hunt real bunnies, if that's what you're into?
No.
Yeah, just tell them bunnies hide eggs. I don't know. It's all weird. We raise kids having them believe in magic and then rip it away from them when they're like 10 years old. It's a weird cycle we feed on.
Yeah, and then we're like, face the realities of life. There's no magical bunnies or guys skipping down your fireplace. Sadly.
Yeah, it's strange to me. My grandparents had a neighbor dress up as Santa Claus once and get on the roof, and like I believed in Santa Claus. I had seen him, and then to later find out that was not true. I felt deceived.
This is where it comes from.
I was going to say, this is where it all started.
This is where the pain starts, right here.
That neighbor.
We're getting somewhere. This is a good therapy session for Zach.
All right.
75 apiece, just so you know. Any improvements, we add another 25.
I take Wick. I'm open. What about you, man? Do you think this is a good thing? I mean, aren't you big in psychology? Do you think this is damaging for the psyche of a child?
Not well to Zach. Apparently, it's going to destroy their entire life. I don't necessarily believe that you should continue the whole thing with Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. The Easter Bunny isn't as big as Santa Claus in terms of
literally
deceitful things that you believe in, objects or people or whatever you would like to call them. But Santa Claus is much worse because in terms of the gift giving, I think that's what's damaging. And I know I'm getting on a little bit of a different subject, but
this is an Easter themed episode.
I know, but I want to talk about
it relates. They're both magically invented creatures from, holidays.
With Santa Claus, like you're telling one child over here, so we have child A who's grown up in a fairly wealthy or at least middle class family who gets gifts, and you're telling them Santa Claus, he really cares about you. He goes to all the kids. Here's what Santa got you for Christmas. And Santa got you an Xbox One. Holy cow, you're such a great child. And then Child A has a best friend named Child B. I don't know why they name them after letters.
Weird name that they have for these children.
And Child B is a little bit less wealthy, has a little less, money in their family, and they get a nice new pair of boxer briefs and some socks.
You're giving your kids socks and boxers for Christmas. You're a bad parent.
Especially from Santa. My God. Oh, I can't wait to open it. I can't wait to. I was good all year. This is tough.
But I mean, people who don't have a lot of money, they have to gift to their kids what they actually need and can afford. And so then you have Santa Claus who's like, oh, well, Santa cares about this kid more than that kid. So I feel like that's kind of damaging. Kids talk. They're going to talk about what they got from Santa Claus. Yeah. And so the child who's in a poverty lifestyle, they can't control that. They're going to see it as maybe Santa doesn't like me as much because of whatever. And then the rich kid is just doing all right. Santa likes me. So does mom and dad. Or whatever the situation is. So I feel like Santa is much more damaging than the Easter Bunny ever could be. And I feel like the idea of getting kids, especially in this technological age, to go outside and to do something outside with other kids and socially interact, I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that's actually more beneficial for them. We're humans. We thrive on social interactions, especially as a child. But if you would have,
except for the only ones that didn't get a Santa Claus.
But I mean, even introverted kids, it's still beneficial for them as they're growing up. And I think if you deprive them of that growing up, then they're going to grow up to be even more introverted and they're going to have a harder time dealing with social situations. So it's better to, even if it makes them a little uncomfortable at first, try to slowly get them into those things. And if you can get them into fun activities that they can enjoy and don't even realize is a social interaction necessarily and just something fun to do, then you're helping your kid grow too as an individual. And
so by your assessment, the Easter Bunny is actually better than Santa Claus.
I mean, the bunny really, what does he do?
Hops.
It just makes me think of the kangaroo song. The kangaroo song from Big Daddy.
Oh my, wow. That was a leap. I guess they both hop. So sure.
Aaron made a gesture of like the bunny hopping, and so it made me think of the kangaroo song from Big Daddy.
Don't try to excuse it. You had a great point, and then you jumped into the kangaroo song.
We continue to reference films from 1999, please.
I can do that the rest of my life.
That's funny.
What about you, Aaron? What do you think?
When I was younger, I got it. As a young parent, I got it. I never got the Easter Bunny, and I never really dealt with it at all. I mean, it was more like, well, here, kids, want some candy? Because it was on sale.
Ooh, I love Star Wars jelly beans.
Ooh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
There you go. But the Santa, yeah. I mean, I really thought Santa was a good idea until I got older, and then I'm like, wow, that's really not a good idea, because then you basically, for 10, 12 years, kids believe in this guy who's going to reward you for being good and bad, and then you rip that away. Like, well, this is my moral compass, apparently. Because some kids actually, that is their moral compass. They're being good because they want something cool for Christmas, which is weird, but
I think even
not that weird.
The elf on the shelf is really funny to me because of all the different hiding places and stuff. But at least they realize that that's an inanimate object. Mm-hmm. Like, I think for the most part, they understand. They see that as just an object that could be there that represents being good. And it kind of holds them accountable in a way for their youthful minds. But Santa Claus, you're trying to humanize this thing that doesn't exist and never will exist. And then you dress up people who aren't Santa.
People go to great lengths to, this is like a fair levels of lies right here. They're going to great lengths to recreate a world that doesn't exist. Hey, you got to go to bed at 9:30 on this night because, and you got to have cookies out and you got to leave milk out. Well, that's just not healthy because somebody drinks that milk in the morning. They're getting sick. You can't have milk out all night. It's just bad for you. So there's so many things that can go wrong. And they have, it's a very orchestrated thing. And what if you're in different time zones? How did Billy get his stuff before me? I mean, he's like 2 hours behind me. That doesn't make any sense. Why is Santa working this weird geographical clock? I don't understand. There's so many things that can go wrong with this complexity.
And then it turns into questions from, God, why can't I think of the movie right now? With
Is it from 1999?
No, it's from the 80s.
Better be.
Why can't I think of it?
The Santa Claus?
No.
Tim Allen.
Great movie.
That is a good movie.
That is a good movie.
And it's not a good movie.
Good as
I mean, it's a great
Santa
movie.
Claus 2. Well, if you can think of it before the end of the show, let us know.
Gremlins! It reminds me, your point reminded me of Gremlins because of the time clock thing. Like, none of it logistically makes sense. You can't make that make sense.
Gotcha. All right, last
Gizmo
question.
Impression.
What's that?
Dope Gizmo impression, Aaron. I heard it.
Thank you.
Can we make that part of the
Somebody
intro?
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Just that one wasn't as good.
All right, lastly, this story was open-ended. Okay, it's very open-ended. Steve knows his dad was murdered, and his mom knows he knows. So how would you conclude the story? And I'd actually invite listeners, join the Facebook group, hop on Twitter, email us for your thoughts on how you think the story would end. But I want to ask either one of these hosts, how would you end that story?
Assuming it is a story I am making up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get to, if you could decide how that ended, because I didn't have an ending for it. Or I wanted to leave it ambiguous, so you kind of are left with, I wonder what happens, but how would you end it?
All right, so here's what I got in my head, all right? I'll lay it on you.
Okay.
So, Steve's his kid's name, right?
Yep.
All right, so they find the body. They do a thorough and full investigation. They manage to track down the one who's responsible for pulling the trigger. However, he gets off due to his mob connection since he came in to cap Steve's dad for not paying his debts in the first place. So this guy walks scot-free. Steve, on the other hand, he's now dedicated his life to revenge. But he's not just going to go out there. He's waiting until his mom dies to respect that she doesn't have to see him in this vigilante crusade. And then when she finally croaks, he goes on a vengeful rampage, John Wick style, caps a guy down.
Like, as soon as she dies, he runs out. He's like, got my guns.
Well, he's training the whole time, but she doesn't want to see him go down the full path. So he's waiting. And then when she finally dies, let's call it, he's 24. And then he goes out, and then he goes after the mob one by one.
Okay. Man,
that's the first thing that popped up into my head.
That's an extensive and elaborate first thing that popped into your head.
How the hell do I follow that up?
I don't know.
Seriously.
It's your ending.
What I was thinking is Steve turns to his mom and he knows that she knows. And the reason she didn't tell him is because Steve actually has multiple personalities. And so he actually murdered his father. But she didn't want him to know that he was the one who did it, because the reason he murdered his father is because there's a psychology theory that states that men have this sort of infatuation with their mothers. And so they have a need to...
Did you say nope?
They have a need to try to rise to the same esteem. They end up growing out of it, but then they have to, the reason they try to relate with their fathers and be like their fathers is because they want to be in that same position of patriarchy in the family.
Whoa, this
is an
weird.
actual psychology theory.
This sounds like everyone is Norman Bates.
Yeah. Is this the psycho theory?
I don't believe in this. I'm just saying this is a theory, so I'm basing it off of this theory. So anyway, so he murders his father because he wants to. He
wants to bang his mom.
Sure, whatever. And so
that's what he said.
But he's a different person. He doesn't know that it's like, he's not Steve when this happens. Anyway, so he murders his father. She tries to hide it from him because of his mental illness.
Condition.
Mm-hmm. And he ends up, I mean, it could go either way. He could either try to murder her for not telling him, or they could just live a life trying to cover it up. But yeah, I want him to have murdered his father.
Wow.
And then she hid it from him to try to protect him, quote, unquote.
Quick note, love you, Mom. Second note, what I've learned here is you like horror movies and I like action movies.
Yeah, that seems accurate.
That is accurate, actually. Yeah.
What about you, Aaron? Aaron?
I can't give mine because I left it ambiguous because I wanted everybody else to come up with their own. And I'm the author, so if I give one, people will say it's already been answered.
Canon. Yeah, that's a canon ending.
Well, now I want to hear what listeners have to say.
Yeah,
I'm curious
cool.
what kind of, maybe somebody will come up with a comedy.
Like Death at a Funeral?
Yeah, there you go.
So what do you guys think? Was the story truth or fiction?
I hope fiction.
I hope fiction, too.
This story is absolutely true.
What?
That's a lie. It's fiction.
You're the worst.
Yeah, it's not true.
I thought you said we don't lie on this podcast.
I didn't. It was a joke.
He was given a little bit of triction before he let you know it was fiction.
Exactly.
What's the title of your story today?
It's called A Hatched Plan.
I get it. I get it because of the eggs.
Yep. Nah. It took me all day to think of that. It took me longer to think of the title than it took me to write the story. That's a true story.
Yeah, I think.
Is that one actually a true story?
Which one?
The last statement where you said it was a true story.
The last statement was absolutely a true story. Yes, absolutely. All right, and as our show goes, we will occasionally pick listener stories to read and discuss on Smirk. We've got a bunch of them coming up. We've had a couple, and we're going to have more. If you'd like the chance to have yours read, email them to mystory@smirkpodcast.com. And thank you for sending them in, too, for everybody that has.
Yeah, super cool.
Thank you. Especially one person challenged Zach to write a happy story.
So excited.
I like that.
Keep dreaming.
It was a challenge. I believe that was inspiring you to tell a
happy
inspirational story.
Just find
I would have to
one
dig
thing.
Deep.
Well, that's what fiction's all about, right? So it wouldn't be true.
Yeah, definitely. You'll know it's a fiction.
Because Zach's like, hey, I got this great story to tell you guys.
And then he smiled. Definitely a fiction.
All right. Well, join the conversation by joining our Facebook group. Follow us on Twitter @Smirk Podcast. And be sure to use the show's hashtag Smirk. Don't miss an episode. Be sure to subscribe on your podcast app of choice and check out our website at smirkpodcast.com. Whew. Well, I think that does it. I hope we had a holiday-themed episode, huh?
How about that?
You really cracked that one together.
This isn't a very happy themed episode.
It is happy. He found out what happened to his dad.
Yeah.
How is that not joyful?
The truth is the happiest story of all.
Exactly. That was a happy story. You guys are doing it wrong. That was joyful. And as you write your own life story, always remember to tell it with a smirk.
Don't bang your mom.
Don't even think about
it. Is that Opodial?
Oedipus.
Oedipus. That's an Oedipus complex, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is, yes. He wanted to bang his mom.